President Trump's national security mission to expel illegal aliens has now arrived in Louisiana. U.S. Border Patrol agents are in New Orleans executing Operation Catahoula Crunch. It's the latest phase in President Trump's aggressive push to remove illegals who are committing particularly heinous crimes out of all of our American cities. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. Several hundred agents now are spread across New Orleans as Border Patrol continues to clean up sanctuary cities.
The concept of these sanctuary city policies is asinine. DHS, rightfully so, is stepping in, launching this operation to carry out, again, this president's promise to carry out the largest deportation of criminal illegals in history.
President Trump is making good on his promise to the American people. The Homeland Security Department is reporting in President Trump's second term so far, nearly 580,000 illegal aliens have been arrested, an average of more than 800 per day. Even House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is giving the president some credit.
In terms of the border, securing the border, can you give President Trump any credit for securing the border? Because, as you know, that was a big issue under the Biden administration when you had record border crossings, and those border crossings have gone down dramatically. Can you give him credit for that?
The border is secure. That's a good thing. It's happened on his watch. He wants to claim credit for it. Of course, he'll get credit for that.
Republican Senator Joni Ernst coming up in focus. We begin with senior correspondent Mike Tobin. And I know, Mike, you did a ride-along with Border Patrol agents in New Orleans.
I did yesterday, and they have begun their operation here in a very rainy and cold New Orleans. As you mentioned, we were with them yesterday as they first targeted the parking lot of a Home Depot. They target the Home Depots because they know that is where people who don't have legal status often wait around for day labor. What we didn't see yesterday was a big roundup of individuals. It was no secret that Border Patrol was coming down to the Big Easy, and what we have through local reporting is that people who don't have legal status stayed home, laid low, largely stayed out of sight. So ultimately, Chief Greg Bavino and the El Centro sector agents mounted up a foot patrol and came right here through the heart of the French Quarter. It seems pretty clear that you're wanting your presence to be known.
Well, we're a uniformed law enforcement agency, Mike, as you know, so this is what we do, whether it's a foot patrol like this, whether it's roving patrol in vehicles, boats. You've seen us on the river there in Chicago, or in the air. It doesn't matter. We're going to utilize any method we can to, again, go after those bad people and bad things.
Now, the agents did get some heckling, but also shouts of support and people who wanted to take selfies, particularly with Chief Bavino.
I'm an immigrant. I'm from South Africa. I came here legally, in a legal way, in terms of my legal visa, and I did everything by the book.
DHS released mugshots of people detained thus far. Their crimes range from battery to child endangerment. One person picked up yesterday is Vietnamese. He'd been sentenced to 40 years for aggravated kidnapping and sex assault with a deadly weapon, but paroled and released. The process is underway now to get him out of the U.S. It's a very different environment than we saw in Chicago. We don't see the crowds of protesters forming up thus far anyway. And the real difference seems to be support from local officials. Governor Landry in particular has welcomed the federal agents to start cleaning up crime here in the Big Easy. And we see even the local police promising to protect the federal agents while they conduct their operations here in New Orleans. Harris?
Well, it's so interesting. I'm sure people are watching and saying, but there's a Republican governor in Louisiana. Yes, that is true. But New Orleans is a sanctuary city. And I know the incoming mayor-elect is Helena Moreno. And I don't hear any plans to change that. So there they are on the ground. Great reporting always, Mike. Thank you. Law enforcement officers across the country are facing an explosion of threats and attacks. Many point to dangerous rhetoric from the left as a driving force behind what you see. The numbers, horrific. The Department of Homeland Security data show assaults against ICE agents up 1,150%. It grows precipitously almost daily. Death threats up 8,000%. A House hearing yesterday laid bare the grave danger to our law enforcement.
One of my colleagues on the other side had the audacity to claim that Homeland Security was the biggest threat to our country and to our safety. That pisses me off. That is reckless. That is dangerous.
Even members of this committee have called ICE and DHS and other law enforcement officers Nazis, racists, terrorists, Gestapo. I find that, and I find the accusations shameful. Shameful.
And part of the reason why you're seeing so much heat now from the right on this is because of the length of time Democrats have been playing this dangerous game. I mean, that rhetoric from the left has been on full display for months.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
When I see ICE, I see slave patrols.
This is Gestapo-like behavior.
It does look like a Gestapo operation.
Senator Joni Ernst of the great state of Iowa, Republican, member of the House Security and Armed Services Committees. Great to see you. First of all, there is so much talk about a period of time in our world's history that deserves to be in the lane that it is. The Nazis, Hitler, were killers. And to bring that into the present day is not only irresponsible, it's stupid.
Yes, I agree, Harris, absolutely. And those men and women that are working for our law enforcement agencies all across the United States to keep our streets and our communities safe, God bless them. It is very shameful what the left is doing. They are actually going after law enforcement instead of those illegal predators that remain on our streets.
Well, I know the Trump administration has announced that it will review every single Afghan national allowed into the United States under the ex-president Biden's parole program, instituted following his botched withdrawal from Afghanistan, also another deadly event in our history. Yesterday, DHS Secretary Noem announced a man in custody accused of funneling support to ISIS-K. That marks the third Afghan national in the U.S. on that Biden program arrested in just 1 week. Another, of course, the man accused of the ambush shooting of those 2 National Guard members. Sarah Beckstrom was killed. Andrew Wolf is still fighting for his life. But we understand maintaining some progress. And one day before that shooting, local police, along with FBI agents, arrested this man that you see on your screen here, and now you see him, for allegedly threatening to blow up a building in Fort Worth, Texas. Live images now of the White House, flags on the ground at half-staff in honor of that guardsman, Sarah Beckstrom. Senator.
Absolutely. And God bless Sarah and her family. The entire West Virginia National Guard team, we mourn the loss as well. And for Andy, we wish him a very speedy recovery. This is a bad situation to be in because we know in that disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan under President Joe Biden, we brought in, as a United States, tens and tens and tens of thousands of Afghan nationals that were not properly vetted. We know this as a truth. We had briefings years ago in the SCIF right under our great Capitol that explained how many of them had gotten through without the proper biometrics and identification needed. We know that as a fact. The Democrats cannot run away from that. Now, I am all about allowing those that assisted our military passage into the United States. I am very firm on that, but they must be properly vetted, and we know that this was not done.
Well, that information you just gave about the SCIF and what you did know, and Democrats knew it too, is unforgivable. So we knew, and by the way, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen told me yesterday there could be as many as 3,000 still in this country that need to be vetted from what happened, bringing them from Afghanistan to here, letting them come here for helping us. Your last quick word, we'll move forward.
Yes, absolutely. And I believe in supporting those who have supported us, but they must be properly vetted. Trust but verify.
Well, a storm is raging in Minnesota. Federal and state investigations into alleged fraud schemes perpetrated by members of the Somali community there are in full swing. They are taking a very deep look at this. Now, Republicans on the House Oversight Committee say the whistleblowers repeatedly sounded the alarm over more than $1 billion in alleged theft of federal funds under Governor Tim Walz. Maybe he just kept hitting snooze. We don't know, but certainly he benefited politically because he was trying to run for vice president. So keep that on the hush while he does what he needs to do, apparently. Committee Chairman James Comer.
They're in blue states where you have liberal governors like Tim Walz who have welcomed all these illegals in for purely political reasons, and they're turning a blind eye to the massive amount of government programs that they're defrauding the American taxpayer. So we want to shine a light on this.
Well, as the fallout is growing, so is the scrutiny of Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Critics are saying she had personal and political ties to some of the people who allegedly benefited from the fraud. But Omar says she had no clue. President Trump has had enough of both Omar and Walz.
She shouldn't be allowed to be a congresswoman, and I'm sure people are looking at that. And she should be thrown the hell out of our country. And most of those people, they have destroyed Minnesota, okay? Minnesota, you have an incompetent governor. You have a crooked governor. He's crooked as hell, but he's incompetent. Walz he should be ashamed. That beautiful land, that beautiful state, it's a hellhole right now. And the Somalians should be out of here.
Senator Ernst, your reaction.
Yes, as the chair of the Small Business Committee, we have seen so much fraud through the COVID era and money that was sent to different organizations under false pretenses. Minnesota is the perfect example of this, and that's why we need to continue the ability to audit all of those books, all of those funds, those grants that went out through the various COVID programs. And if there was fraud connected to those programs, that money needs to be clawed back and people need to be held accountable. So I am all on board with going back and exposing what has happened in Minnesota. And let this be a lesson as well, not just to Minnesota, but to all of the fraudsters that exist out there that have taken money that did not belong to them and should not have gone to them. So I have an extension bill that would allow us to continue to go back and scrutinize the records of these programs, even though those programs have ended.
Yeah, I'm actually, having lived there and as a journalist for many years for ABC News, covered the stories of the Somali community, and a beautiful community with a lot of problems right now. It's not just the fraud, it's where some of that money went. And we know the ties in the past to ISIS with some of the young men in that community in Minnesota. This has a lot of veins worth looking at. Great to see you, Senator.
Sure does.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harris.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.
পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ থইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ থইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি এখন আমার মনটা পুরে কয়লা হয়েছে জানি না রে কাহার প্রেমে মুগ্ধ রয়েছি পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ তুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি কেউ পুরে প্রেম প্রেম আগুনে কেউ বা তুষের আগুন প্রেম আগুনে মন পুড়ে যার চলে আরো দ্বিগুণ কেউ পুরে প্রেম আগুনে কেউ বা তুষের আগুন প্রেম আগুনে মন পুড়ে যার চলে আরো দ্বিগুণ কোন আগুনে পুরাইলি তুই করলি বেইমানি দেহ তুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পুরাইলি পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ তুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পুরাইলি প্রেমের আগুন যার অন্তরে সেই জানে তার ব্যথা পাগল হইয়া পাগল বেশে কয় যে প্রেমের কথা প্রেমের আগুন যার অন্তরে সেই জানে তার ব্যথা পাগল হইয়া পাগল বেশে কয় যে প্রেমের কথা সেই অন্তরে আঘাত দিবি আগে বুঝিনি দেহ তুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পুরাইলি পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ তুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পুরাইলি হা 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 হা